Hi, welcome back to another tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how you can make your own rose. We'll be doing some modeling, using some modifiers, adding some lighting and finishing it off with some materials and shader nodes. This video is part of a giveaway that I'm hosting in collaboration with XP Pen. Follow this tutorial, post it on your Instagram and you will have a chance to win one of 2 XP Pen tablets this month. All the information you need to join is in the description down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you have any obstacles or challenges in Blender, let me know in the comment section. I'm excited, so let's dive right in. Okay, we'll start off by creating the rose. So press Shift A, curve and add a Bezier curve. Press Tab to go into edit mode, 7 on your numpad to go into top mode, or press your tilde key and go into top view from there. Press A to select all, X and delete all vertices. Now we'll go here and we'll select draw. Now we'll draw our rose. So here you can kind of follow what I'm doing, but we're just going to make like circular leaves that we will then extrude and make the rose out of. So we'll make it like that. And here you can kind of just draw the way you like it. There is no right or wrong here. And then try and make the outside ones a tiny bit wider. Okay, I think I like that. So then press Tab to leave edit mode. And then we'll press Object, Convert, and Convert to Mesh. Then we'll go and press Tab to go into edit mode, into top view. And then here we kind of want to spread out the edges of these. So I'm going to delete this one and like spread out the last vertices of each edge so they're not that close to each other. This one is a tiny bit close. Here's a whole bunch of them. Just delete them and then extrude out some new ones to clean it up a tiny bit. Same goes for these. Oh, there as well. Okay, same here. Out with E. These as well. And then there. I'm satisfied with that. Then we'll press A to select all. Press 1 on your numpad to go into front view or go through your view menu. And then we'll press E and Z to extrude it down, and then S to scale it down. And here we'll kind of shape our rose. Slowly scale it up again a tiny bit. That. Scale it down again. Like that. Okay, press Tab to leave edit mode, press Ctrl 3 to add a subdivision modifier. Go to modifiers and add a solidify modifier as well. And then we'll move that one above our subdivision. And then we can increase the thickness a tiny bit. Maybe to 0.3 is kinda, yeah, I like how 0.3 looks. And then I'll increase the subdivision on render to 3 as well. And then press Tab to go into edit mode. Press O to activate proportional editing, and then click on the middle third somewhere, and then press G and Z, and we'll move it up just a bit. Like that. There. Yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. Okay, then we'll continue with the stem. And I'll go into front view. I'll move this up just a tiny bit. And then press Shift A, Mesh, and we'll add a UV sphere. Tab to go into edit mode, and we'll scale that down, and then we can move it down and go into edit mode again. We'll deactivate proportional editing by pressing O, then press Z and toggle X-ray, and then invert mode, we'll delete half of it. Press X and V, leave edit mode, toggle X-ray back, press Ctrl 2 to add a subdivision, and then we'll shade auto smooth, and we'll move close to there, and then we'll shade this smooth as well. We can also start adding some leaves now. So press Shift A, Mesh, add a plane, go into top view, press G and X, and we'll move it to the side. Tab to go into edit mode, and we'll scale it down. and then press S and X to scale it up. In the X-axis, press Ctrl R to add a loop cut. Use your scroll wheel to increase it to 2. Click once and then move it a tiny bit to the left. Submit. Select these two verts and then press S and Y and move them closer to each other. And move these a tiny bit closer to each other and then these almost against each other. Press Ctrl R, add a horizontal loop cut, right click to confirm. Press 2 to go into edge select and then Alt click and Shift Alt. To select these two edges, press G and Z. And we'll move those up just a tiny bit. And then press 1 to go into vert select. Select these 3 verts, press M and merge at center. Press O to activate proportional editing again, and then press R and Y. And then we'll rotate it a tiny bit. And then deactivate proportional editing. Press A to select all, E and extrude it up. Tab to leave edit mode, press Ctrl 3 to add a subdivision modifier. Increase the render to 3 as well, right click, shade out a smooth. And there's a nice leaf. Go into front view. Tab to go into edit mode, A to select all, and then G. And then we'll move it a tiny bit so it's to the right of our origin point. And then we can press Shift S and then selection to cursor. And then it will move like nice to the middle. And we can just move it down just a tiny bit. There, I think that's great. Maybe we can make it a tiny bit thicker. Press S and Y. I'll make it just a tiny bit thicker, wider. There, okay. Then we'll press a period and we'll change our pivot point to 3D cursor. And then with the leaf selected, we press Alt D to make a link duplicate. Then press R and Z and press 60. Then we've duplicated it and rotated it. Now with Shift R we can redo our last action. So if you press Shift R around 4 times, then we have leaves all around. There we go, and then we can select those into front view and then maybe move them up just a tiny bit. There, yeah, that looks cute. Okay, go to front view. Now we'll add the stem. We'll do this with a curve and we'll add some geometry to it. So press Shift A, curve, and we'll add a path. Press Tab to go into edit mode. Press R, Y 90 to rotate it. And then we'll press S to scale it down. And then we can click here on the select box. So we have the select tool. Press G and Z to move it down. Select the bottom vert. Press period. Change your pivot point back to medium point. Press O to activate proportional editing. And we'll just kind of softly move it a tiny bit. As a slight curve. I'll deactivate proportional editing. Maybe curve it out a tiny bit more. There. Okay, and then we can go to our data and we'll go to geometry, scroll down a tiny bit and increase the depth, and here you can make your stem as thick as you want it. I'm gonna make mine 0.05 and then we can press R and we'll rotate it so it kind of fits on there nicely. Yeah, that's good. Maybe make it a tiny bit bigger. It's a bit small. There we go. Perfect. Select your curve, go to object, and then convert it to mesh. Press Tab to go into edit mode. 2 to go into edge select. Select this outer edge. Press G, move it out a tiny bit. Press F to fill, and then press Ctrl B to bevel it. And then with your scroll wheel, increase the bevels. Like that. And then we'll press Ctrl 2 to add a subdivision modifier. We can shade it smooth. So that's all for our stem. We've already made some leaves, so we can just reuse those. So I'll select one of them and then press Shift D and Z to move it down. Go to front view and then we'll make sure our origin point is just a tiny bit outside of it. And we can basically just place those around our object. We'll have one there. Press Alt D to make a duplicate, move it down a tiny bit. We can rotate it a tiny bit up and then press RZZ, so you rotate it on the Z axis, and we'll press 120. And then we'll duplicate the first one again. Place that one there, rotate it, sit it a tiny bit more. And once again, RZZ 120 minus. There, and then we've rotated them kind of nicely around. We can check, are they all connected to the stem? This one is not, so just Move it in a tiny bit. The same for this one, it's not really connected. You can just move them in. There we go. Yeah, that looks cute. Okay, then we'll make some thorns. We'll do this by using a cube. So press Shift A, mash, add a cube. Press G and X, and we'll move it to the side a tiny bit. Tab to go into edit mode, and then we'll scale it down. Like that. Press 3 to go into face select, select the top face, press G and Z. Move that up just a tiny bit, and then we'll scale it down with S. Leave edit mode, press Ctrl 3 to add a subdivision modifier. Increase the render to 3. Press tab to go back into edit mode. Press Ctrl R to add a loop cut, and we'll move that down. And then leave edit mode, and we'll shade it smooth. There is our thorn. It's a bit big now, but we'll shape it to our stem. So we'll move it closer, and then we can see it's way too big. So we'll press A to select all, and then move it up in edit mode so that our origin point is just a bit in, because we will use snapping now. So let's see if this is like a good size, and I think that looks perfect. We can just kind of place it like there. Might want it just a tiny bit bigger. There we go. Now we'll go here to our snapping menu. We'll do face project, align rotation to target, project individual elements. And then now with our thorn selected, we'll press Alt D to make a link duplicate. And then Shift Tab to actually activate our snapping. And then we can just move them around our stem. With Alt D we can continue making linked duplicates, and then kind of just place them wherever we want them. Maybe have one there, have one there, and then maybe one there. That looks good there. I'll move this one down a bit, and then there. Okay, yeah, I'm satisfied with how that looks. Then I'll go into front view, and I'll start adding our camera. So press Shift A and add a camera, and then we'll press G and Y for minus. First deactivate snapping, of course, GY for minus, and then go into camera view with hitting 0 on your numpad or through your view menu. I'm a bit close, but first I'll go to the output settings and change the resolution to 1920 by 1920. And now if I press G and Z twice, I can kind of move my camera back and forth. And then I think this looks like a good distance. Now I'll select my rows and I'll move it up. And then if I press R twice, I can kind of rotate it. And there we go. I like this rotation, and I'm gonna select just the top of it, and I press R and Z twice. And kind of make that around. There. Maybe. There. Okay, yeah, I think that looks awesome. Okay, and then I'm going to select this leaf here, press R and Z twice. Just move these around a tiny bit so they look better in the render. There we go. Okay, then we'll add some lighting. So we'll press Z and go into rendered mode. And we'll press Shift A, light, and add an area light. We'll press R, X 90 minus to rotate it. Then we can press G, X 2 minus, no, G, Y 2, not X. We want to place it on the Y axis. And then we can increase the size so it covers our camera view, just like that. And then maybe change the power to 200. Might be a tiny bit too weak. Let's start with 400. There, that looks nice. I'm going to change the color just a tiny bit to a slighter, softer color. The hex code is FFEAD9 if you want to copy me. And then here I'm going to quickly go to my render settings, change my engine to cycles, device to GPU compute. I'll change the viewport samples to 128 and my render sample to 512. Okay. And then I'll add another light. Shift A, light, add another area light. Press G and Z and we'll move it up. And then we'll press period and change our pivot point to 3D cursor. And we'll press RX60 60, and then press RZ 45 minus. And then we'll see how this angle is. Maybe RZ and rotate it just a tiny bit more. There, yeah, I like that angle. Go to the light settings. We'll change the shape to disc. I can change the size to 2 maybe. Maybe the power to 80. Start off with, and then we'll change it to a softer color as well. It's going to be FF1 D8. And then with this light selected, we can press Shift D to duplicate it and then press RZ 120 to rotate it to the other side. And then we'll change the power to 40 and maybe a soft bluish light, just like that. That's a hex of F1, F4, FF. And we just need a light for our background. So first we need to add the background. So press Shift A, Mesh, Edit Plane. Press Period to change it to medium point, RX 90 to rotate it, and then we'll press G and Y and we'll move it back. Go into camera view, tap to end, go into edit mode, and then we'll scale it up so it covers our background. And then we'll press Shift A, light, add an area light, press RX 90 to rotate it, press G and Y, and we'll move that towards our background. We'll change the shape to disc, and then the size to 3, and then the power to 500, and then we can see how that looks. And then if I shift click and select the background, then maybe we can move those a bit closer. And I think that is a good position. Okay, so that's it for our lighting. Now we'll start with our materials. We'll start with our background. So select your background, go to the materials tab here, add a new material. You can name it background, and then we'll change the base color to E7ADE0. And then we'll go to our shading tab right there. Here you can just go into camera view, press set, and go into rendered. And then we'll start with the red of the rose. So we'll add a new material. We'll call it rose red. And then here I want to add a ambient occlusion. So press Shift A, S to search, and then search for ambient occlusion. Like that. And then press Shift A, S, search for ramp, and add a color ramp. Connect the color to the color ramp, and then the color of the color ramp to our base color. And then we want to change our colors a tiny bit in the color ramp. So if we zoom in a tiny bit, I'll change the black color to 660001. And then I'll change the position to 0.25. And then for our lighter color, we'll go and change it to FF7370. And then I'm going to decrease the roughness a tiny bit as well to 0.3. I think it will look nice. Okay. Then for our leaves, I'm going to select one of the leaves, shift click the red of the rose, and I press Ctrl L, and then I'll link materials. And then this link material, I will just duplicate it, copy it, and then I will just call this the leaf. And then we can just change the colors here and use the same ambient occlusion. So our dark color is going to be 016600. And then for our lighter color, we'll use 65E171. Perfect. And then I can select all the other leaves as well. And shift click on one that has the material, and I press Ctrl L and M to link the materials. Okay, then for the stem, it's going to be a tiny bit darker, so I'll just link one of the materials again, then I'll copy it, and then we'll call it stem. And then we can just change the colors of this one. So for our dark color, we'll be using 123B1E, and our lighter color is going to be 62B077. And then last is the thorns. So like before, copy over the materials, copy the material itself, and then we'll call it thorns. And then once again, we'll just change the colors of this. So our dark color is going to be 012A00, and then for our lighter color, we'll use 2B562A. There we go. Then we can go back to layout. Okay. And then I will go and add a world color. So go to the world tab right here, click on color, and we'll change it to 8B636E. And then in our render settings, we'll scroll down, go to color management, and maybe we'll go for a medium high contrast. There, I think that looks nice. I'm going to select this backlight and then maybe change the color of it a tiny bit. See how it looks if we love how that looks. Maybe add a tiny bit of a yellow light to it. What happens if you make it very pink? There, just a tiny bit orangey yellow is nice. I think I like this color. So that's if you want to copy, it's FFC1A0. And there we go. All we have to do is render. Thanks for joining me. I hope you had a good time creating your rows. If you want to learn more, be sure to check out the other tutorials on my channel. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you have any obstacles or challenges in Blender, let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to tag me and XPPen when you upload your masterpiece to Instagram to be sure you're part of the giveaway. Read all the rules in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. See you soon!